our discussion, where we are going to discuss that how ecological entrepreneurship can really be useful for sustainable development. See, ecological entrepreneurship is the upcoming field where we need to train our students. Either they are either from field of environment, ecology, economics, commerce, history, law. They can be from any other discipline, even social sciences. They can be developed and trained into ecological entrepreneurship because, see, ultimately they have to develop the adversity of environmental challenges into an opportunity for restoring the quality of life, for restoration of ecosystems, and also develop new markets and lead the global world for making profit. So these are the skills which they need to develop, because when you say the environmental entrepreneurship, so we are talking about the environmental stewardship through sustainable market and society. So the students can be trained into develop strategies. These strategies can be for society, if they're a student of social science and humanity. These strategies can be for industry, if they're trained in what you say in MBAs and so on. And they can be in terms of policies, if they're trained in political science. And they can be technology, if they're engineers and biotechnologists or restoration ecologists. Or if they're a student of language, they have to develop new kind of debates so that the society is convinced with the new ideas, or the society can exchange their ideas with the policymaker for new policies and business engagement and so on. So these are the deliverables with ecological entrepreneurship are supposed to give to the society and industry and the government. So that means the students from any discipline can be an ecological entrepreneurship. And how they can influence? They can influence the commitment of individual, organization, city, state, country, and the government. For what? For sustainable development. And they will play a significant role in the coming decades. Let me tell you, they're going to lead the market. They're going to lead the economy. They're going to lead the government. They're going to lead the society, so that they can develop harmony between ecology, economy, and society for conservation of biodiversity and for sustainable development. So ecological entrepreneurship will give different kind of avenues for employment generation, let me tell you. For example, for any big developmental plan, they have to undergo for environmental impact analysis. And this is a mandatory from the government side. But we do not have trained people who can do very good or useful and meaningful impact assessment. So this is a new avenue and industry which are coming up, where environmental impact analyst can be ecological entrepreneur. And they can also serve advisor to the industries, because the green economy and the green industries are the new ideas at the global level. If your company is a green company, then they can lead for exports in different parts of the world, let me tell you. So they can be a good advisor, for a sustainable advisor for many different industries. And they can also serve as sustainability consultant to many multinational companies. They can be ecological practitioners. They can develop new technologies to remedify the environment and restore the degraded lands. And they can also do a very good job in the ecotourism industry and for cultural biodiversity, because I told you the culture and biodiversity, they are critically linked. So even for cultural tourism, for cultural biodiversity is a new idea, where you can attract the what you say the international tourist for introduction to the cultural tourism and so on. And we can also develop green spaces in even in the cities for a spiritual tourism, because you know it, the spirituality and the economic development and the personal excellence, they're quite critically linked. So spiritual tourism can be a new avenue for employment generation. Now, the society will also get benefit from ecological entrepreneur, because we'll have eco-literate society, and it will also prevent the cultural erosion beside the biodiversity loss, and it will revive the linkages between the ecosystem, spiritualism, and the personal excellence. And it will also help in restore and conserve the cultural practices which are being lost in last couple of decades. And it will also help in elevating the poverty and strengthen the roots of ecological studies, let me tell you, to build the green economy and green budget. We must know that there is a conservation basic scheme. It's a new idea where the communities which are living closely to the biodiversity rich area and ecosystems, they should get the minimum income. It's not only payment of an environmental services. The government should also give minimum basic income to those communities which are living very closely to the biodiversity rich area, so that they they actively participate in conservation of biodiversity and ecosystem, and their livelihood can be sustained. And if we implement such kind of schemes in the conservation basic income, then our society will be benefited, and our industry should be sustainable, our growth should be sustainable, there will be social equity, and environment and ecosystems will also be protected. So that means, in short, ecological entrepreneurship use nature-based solutions. So we are not developing any new solutions, let me tell you. Nature has been using such solutions and such practices, such processes for millions of years. We are learning from the nature and developing those ideas and products based on the nature-based informations. And that can help in accelerating the eco restoration and remediation of degraded contaminated sites, improve the quality of life, and trigger sustainable development. So ecosystems are can be considered as large cap stocks in of nature's market. You know the stock market. What I could gather from the stock market functioning is, if you want to make money out of stock market, we must enter into the market much early in our life. And the second rule is, we should invest in diversified funds. When I'm saying diversified fund, in the sense, so there are mid stock fund, mid cap fund, and small cap funds, and the large cap funds. The large cap funds are the companies which are multinational companies, multi-billion-dollar companies who drive the stock market. But the benefit may be relatively low but sustained. At the same time, this small cap fund and mid cap fund, you can make money 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, and so on. But at the same time, they're very risky. In the sense, you may lose the complete money as well. So the idea is, in a stock market fund, you may take risk of purchasing mid cap and small cap funds, but at the same time, you must purchase and invest in large cap funds, because whenever there is a market crash, the large cap funds drive the market. So they will continue to provide some kind of benefits to their investors. So what I want to say is, ecosystems are similar to large cap funds. And what we are seeing, industries and the infrastructure, roads and so on, they are important for good quality of life, no doubt. But on an evolutionary scale, they are nothing but small cap and mid cap funds. So we must invest in large cap funds. We must invest in ecosystem protection. And how these large cap funds, I'm comparing with the ecosystems. See, large cap funds are stable. They bring stability to the market. Similarly, ecosystems also bring stability to the human life. I told you the example of tsunami, cyclones, super cyclones. Wherever the ecosystems were protected and safe and intact, so they prevented the adverse effect of those natural calamities to the mainland. So they provide an insurance. They are quite stable. Dividends payout, their regular flow of income. So similarly, these ecosystems continue to pay, let me tell you, to the investors. If you invest in ecosystems, they will provide large number of benefits. For example, take example of wetlands. Wetlands purify the toxic contaminants. So they are also nursery to the fishes. So once the flood comes, then the fishes breed there. And then when the flood recedes, then those fishes go to the river, and the fish diversity of river is maintained. So that means they provide more than one kind of services, like large cap companies. They provide large number of services, they produce large number of products. So if there is some kind of disturbance in one kind of service or product, they will provide other benefit of other kind of services. So like large cap companies, these ecosystems also provide the diversified services and products available for data for evaluation. So that means these large cap companies are, their data and expenditures and investments, they are very clear and transparent to the investors. Similarly, in case of ecosystems, we know how the energy flows, how the nutrient flows, what are the structure and function of those ecosystems. That there is a transparency, then structure and functioning of those ecosystems. So they are also transparent. Reputation in the market. They're credible market. In large cap companies, take multi-million and multinational companies, they have credibility, they have name. that yes, if you invest in these companies, you will not lose money. Similarly, in our ecosystems also have a reputation. Take examples of hundreds and thousands and millions of thousands of years of history. These ecosystems have provided safety to the all living organisms against the natural calamities, whether it's example of Uttarakhand or Andaman Nicobar or Chennai or West Bengal or Kashmir. So wherever the flood, cyclone, and calamities came, they protected. So they have a long history and credibility into the system. Quality of management and business. So in large cap companies, they pay very heavily to their experts who run their market, who take decisions about the functioning of their companies, because they're experts, so they're heavily paid, so they take better decisions. Similarly, in case of our ecosystems, the nature has recruited the microbial communities who drive their functioning, who drive their biogeochemical cycles, who determine the structure and function of those ecosystems. And these recruitment has been done by the nature over a million of years. So you can understand the ranking and the quality of experts which are being recognized and recruited by the nature in these ecosystems. Now sync with the economy in the sense you can forecast. You see, if large cap funds are going weak, so that means stock market is going to be crashed very soon. You can predict based on the how these large cap funds are behaving. Similarly, based on the ecosystem health, ecosystem integrity, you can make predictions that which areas are more prone to cyclones, natural calamities, floods, and so on. So these are the features. You make comparison with the ecosystems and large cap stocks, they're similar. So I suggest we must enter into the market much early in our life, and we must invest in large cap funds. That means ecosystems. So this is what we have discussed so far. And what we need is we need to translate and train our students to translate ecological and environmental skills into industrial products, processes, and policies so that they can be better ecological entrepreneurship. So that these youth should be trained in the tools and techniques and ideas of ecological entrepreneurship so that they can redesign the earth, so that they can restore and the degraded and contaminated lands, so that they can help the industries for sustainable growth, and so that they can lead the market. And these market-based instruments can be useful for conservation, no doubt. And we must invest in ecosystem restoration as a new market. So training our youth, teaching them the principles of ecological entrepreneurship would be highly useful, highly profitable for as a teacher, as an entrepreneur, as a policymaker, as well as custodian of nature's health. So I must acknowledge here to all the authors, scholars, and several publications from our group and from other authors and web resources which have contributed in development of these ideas, and some of the pictorial representations which other authors have developed and where I presented those concepts. So I must thank all those authors and anonymous authors, and thank you very much. I hope you will attend the last quiz as well.